Welcome back, guys, to another video. In this video we're going to be going over the ideal body weight. What's the ideal body weight for you, where you should be aiming at for your height or your genetics or whatever you have. And I'll be going over a video by Coach Greg, one of my favorite YouTubers. Love this guy. He'll be giving us some in-depth, detailed information on why you should be a certain body weight, why you shouldn't be, how certain medical practices might be misleading you, and yeah. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Alright guys, so here we are. We're going to be looking over Coach Greg and what he has to say on ideal body weight. So let's get into it.
And so in order to improve my fitness age, I was told I should diet down to get to 133 pounds. If I could do that, my fitness age would be reduced by 7 years.
That's what happens with height.
And so is 133
Genetics.
pounds my ideal body weight? Of course not.
God, they get an intro like that.
Coach Greg, in today's video, how much should you weigh? It's a very popular question. People say, hey, I'm 5'10", 5'6". What is my ideal weight? How much should I weigh? I weigh 200 pounds right now. How much weight do I have to lose? And so in today's video, we're going to be answering that question once and for all. And so to answer this question, we should first understand, where does this notion of an ideal weight even come from? Well, like 5 bazillion years ago, they created a chart known as a BMI scale. It's your body mass index, and all that
By the way,
is a fancy
the
word
19th
for
century
how
is the
tall you are compared to
1800s.
how much you weigh. As you get taller, clearly, you're going to weigh more. And
That
in
is
case you
true
think it's
in
just
general.
insurance companies that use these notions, we see it in everyday life. For example, classic physique. Chris
But there are
Bumstead,
outliers.
he's 6'1". He can weigh 240 pounds. That's his height compared to his weight. Coach Greg, 5'6". I can only weigh 185 pounds. That's a 55 pounds difference. And so in the bodybuilding world for classic physique, they decided at 6'1", the ideal weight is 240. And if you're a 5'6" hobbit or manlet like Coach Greg, well,
Exactly.
it's 185. But what should your ideal weight be? Are you in fact a bodybuilder? What if you're a marathon runner? If you're 6'1" and 240 pounds, you think you're ever going to win a marathon? Of course not. It's too heavy. What if you're a bike racer in the Tour de France? You're 5'6", 189.6 pounds like I was this morning. Is that your ideal weight? Of course not. Do you think anyone's keeping up in the Tour de France who weighs as much as I do? And so your ideal weight surely depends on what are your goals here on this earth. But let's now get into the problems of trying to say a specific weight, a specific height, because all bodies are different. No two people, even if you're the same exact height, are exactly the same. For example, if you're very tall because you have a very long tibia, the bone down here, if you have a long tibia, it's not going to add in a lot of weight. Think of it. How much weight is on your tibia, your calf muscle? Not a lot. In comparison to your quads or your upper body, there's a lot more weight around here than there is around your ankles. And so if you have a very long tibia in comparison to someone else, you're more likely going to be a lot lighter in comparison to them, despite perhaps having the same exact amount of body fat and or muscle. Next, you have wide or narrow shoulders. Think of it. If I had very narrow shoulders, this wide, and my torso was here, would I come even close to weighing what I do now? No. Of course not. I might have a lot of muscle and have low body fat percentage, but my weight is going to be far lighter. And so to arbitrarily say, oh, you're 5'6", your ideal weight is
short with
X,
huge shoulders, and short guy weighs more.
Yet BMI charts, insurance companies do it all the time. And
exactly,
so remember,
to make money.
Depending on your somatotype, you cannot simply say that for X height, 5'6" as example, you need to weigh X amount of pounds. And so what other factors should we consider? Well, first off, body fat. Obviously. And so what is the ideal weight according to health reference standards in order to live the longest for myself?
Usually about 15 to 20%.
Well, according to the BMI chart, it's anywhere from 120 pounds to 150 pounds. And so in order to improve my fitness age, I was told I should diet down to get to 133 pounds. If I could do that, my fitness age would be reduced by 7 years. And so is 133 pounds my ideal body weight? Of course not. But why not, Coach Greg? It says you'll live 7 years longer. Really? You really think somebody can predict that? That's about as ridiculous as thinking that Gary Brecka can determine when you're going to die to the month.
We could tell the insurance company how long you had to live to the month.
But the charts say
It's
if
all
you're
estimates.
133 pounds,
But
you're
and
going to live
Gary
the
Brecka
longest,
does
that
that
you'd have the
for
greatest
insurance
life
companies.
expectancy. That's based on a chart, based on a very large sample size, perhaps millions of people. But in reality, within those millions of people, some people are better off weighing more, and some people are better off weighing less. And so for me, because I have wide shoulders and short tibias, and I don't have a long neck, I have a lot of weight for my height, which is exactly why I have no chance of competing at the Mr. Olympia in men's classic physique. At 185 pounds, I simply can't carry the amount of muscle needed to be competitive. Have you seen me at 185 in comparison to Chris Bumstead at 240? Does it even look like we're in the same category? Chris looks far superior to me. Why? Well, with his frame, smaller waist, longer tibias, longer neck, he's a lot taller. And so he's given the opportunity to be
Muscle bellies also play a role. I have a long muscle belly on my bicep. I have more space to build muscle.
He'd have to weigh only 220. He'd have to drop 20
so I can grow
pounds
more.
of muscle. Imagine how much smaller he would be. Yeah, he would still look amazing, but not nearly as impressive as he currently is. And so if you're in a sport like bodybuilding, clearly you're going to have a lot more muscle and a lot less body fat. And so if you're a bodybuilder, it makes no sense to look at the BMI charts and say, that's how much I should weigh. But if your sport relies on cardio, you're an endurance athlete. Perhaps you do marathons, Ironmans, and so on.
You're going to have to weigh less.
If you look at the BMI chart, your weight possibly could be on the lower end.
Exactly.
At 5'6", 133 pounds, you might not even be lean. You might have fat to lose. Why? Because you have no muscle and you have a very small frame. Not only that,
so
have you considered that the BMI chart is the same for men and women? Does that make sense? Men have way more muscle than women. And so at the same height, do you really think a man should weigh the same as a female?
It's also increased bone density. Well, maybe. Bones weigh a lot too.
Some women have larger bones. Some have lots of muscle. And so sometimes a female at the same height as a male should weigh more.
But the majority of
and so it depends.
men will weigh more
so
than
you
women.
Can't just look at the chart, look at the range, 120 to 150, and say, yeah, I have to diet down to that. Or I have to gain weight to get up to that point. And consider this. Is your ideal weight whatever weight allows you to live the longest? Well, it depends. If you're Brian Johnson, not talking about the Liver King, the other guy, his goal to live as long as humanly possible. That gives him the most joy here on this earth. And so for him, every pound matters. He does the exact same routine every single day. He wants to optimize his longevity, the time here on this earth. And so for him, it's 5% body fat. Eating 500 calories a day less than he should be. And so for him, that works. It's ideal. But for me, it would be a living nightmare. How many of you would want to starve yourself every single day for the rest of your life? To have 5% body fat. To be constantly starving.
Although he doesn't necessarily do that all the time.
You're 5'6".
Look to his stuff. Very educational guy to watch too. I might make reaction videos on him if you guys want.
Pounds. You can't lift him out. Would you not prefer if that guy were perhaps 200 pounds?
Buffer, bigger, stronger.
And fat, sure, whatever. But they were strong. Would you care if that person was ripped, had a six-pack? Of course not.
You want him to get shot out of fire.
Can you save me? I don't care if that person's a male, a female, a circle. It doesn't matter. What matters is, can they drag my ass out of that fire? Another factor, how much cardio you do.
Dramatized.
Did you know
makes everything so much better when you're watching these videos. I had to learn how to really add that to my videos.
In particular, cardiovascular work, it causes the body to want to store less body fat. Decreases hunger signaling to the point that rather than perhaps you're weighing 200
less cardio,
pounds,
he'd weigh probably more, probably like 200 pounds. Instead of what he's weighed at 185.
200 pounds. You take up exercise, you become an endurance cyclist. Perhaps now your body wants you to weigh 160 pounds. Why? Because you have decrease in hunger signaling. It's as if the body knows. I know you're going to get up on that bike and ride 5 hours a day. And so if you're lighter, it's going to be that much easier. And so your natural genetic set point, it's going to go down. And so if you're 200 pounds and inactive, and somebody says, what is my ideal body weight? And they say, oh, probably about 180. Well, is it really?
Not necessarily.
That's in this state right now.
It always depends on what you're trying to go for. Your body's body's amazing and adapts to whatever you give it.
If you try to go down to 160, you might be starving all the time, have brain fog, lower testosterone levels. And so
that would not be beneficial.
And so just because you're 40 pounds overweight, it doesn't mean you have 40 pounds to lose. You have to consider, what will my quality of life be if I actually get to that weight? And so it's not just about the weight that allows you to live the longest, it's the one that allows you to have the happiest and best life possible. And so if you do all the cardio and you can naturally get down to 160, well then that is your ideal weight. And remember, VO2 max, not muscle mass, the #1 predictor of longevity. And so the activities that you do, if it can improve your cardio, allow you to have a lower set point, lower body fat percentage, then that is going to help you to live longer. And so the #1 supplement to help you to get to your ideal weight, and not only that, to improve your VO2 max, to make you better at cardio, live the longest life possible, GO2 max.
This guy's selling his stuff. Not wrong in general. It does benefit cardio.
A significant improvement in your cardiovascular
but not necessarily your weight.
Walking test scores improved by 50%. That is a lot.
And this is also more beneficial in older age groups and younger age groups.
And so you simply take this. You're not even instructed to exercise. Just go about your day.
Nicotinamide mononucleotide is the name of that supplement.
Way better at cardio than the other. This was
increases
discussed by Andrew Huberman and others on
levels,
the Joe Rogan podcast.
NRD,
this supplement gives a
ribosome,
ton of energy.
whatever levels, that increases that and that.
Stocking up NMN, amazing. And remember, NMN, it's not some scary drug. It's kind of like creatine. It's found
NAR too. That's the same
NMN
thing.
is the precursor to NAD+ levels, which
NAD+,
in fact decline
that's
as you
what I
get
was looking
older.
for.
And so with more NAD+, you can produce
more energy. That's what it's doing. So in general,
also,
that's more of like
no
supplement that benefits older people, but it also benefits younger people since it reduces the
They've banned it for sale on Amazon, but you can still get on my website. Code Greg, 10% off. Stock up now.
Very useful
buy
supplement.
bulk and save. And
so what should
your ideal
if you guys want, you guys get it
the
from
way
Coach
at
Greg.
which you can have the best quality and quantity of life, and that is dependent based on your body
NAR
type,
is also very similar supplement. Does the same
your
thing.
activity levels, and what
I
you
look
want to
into
do
NAR
here on this earth. Don't
but
let
in
some
general,
stupid chart
very
tell you
educational
exactly
guy.
what you need
Love
to
this
weigh.
guy.
You decide. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm, like the video if you liked it. Please watch one of the bloops, and of course,
do all that stuff. Watch this guy's videos. Love this guy.
Me, my team, the Circles Diet book, my life's work.
Has a really good cookbook, although personally, I just get it for free online. I borrowed the cookbook. I use it for my cooking. But don't tell this guy. Yeah, I do that. But yeah, I love this guy. You can watch some of his videos. In general, nobody has a specific weight that's their ideal weight for everyone. You can't just look at someone's height and be able to tell exactly what weight they are. Everybody has a different ideal weight for their different goals and whatever their purpose is here on earth, like he said. So take that, use it, and learn from it. You see that everybody has a different weight for different reasons. Not to say that you have to be fat in general. Try to always aim for 15 to 20% body fat if you're a man, 20 to 25% body fat if you're a woman. And yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.